Son of Man. A live broadcast every Sunday at 12 noon on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHBR, and Comcast Cable. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning. So tune in to a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday at 12 noon, right here on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHBR, and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Of course, the area code 313. That's 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live to the Scriptural Discussion, the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you once again with the greeting words of peace from the Lord of the worlds. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. Thank you. We have quite a bit we want to share with you. This evening, I want to talk with you about a number of things. As I was viewing President Obama's speech, on at that mosque. Something that I wanted to bring your attention to, that I didn't get a chance. Just a moment. I'll go back to that one. I want to
acknowledge, even as the overwhelming majority.
I wanted you to see what I see and hear what I hear. Because I was born for the purpose of delivering the messages of Allah clearly to to you who are the descendants of slaves in America, I am a bearer of witness to you to form you into a new nation. And the light of understanding that will be manifested through you will bear witness to the nations. This world's mentality or ruler is struggling now to keep that from happening. Which is the same as struggling to keep the sun from rising. They even made a song about it that they did not, most people, they don't understand that it's really true. The scripture says, come before his presence with singing. Are you aware that songs are basically nothing more than poetry? I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. When it's cold outside, I've even got the month of May. You see, people say I'm the life of the party because I tell a joke or two. And though I might be laughing loud and hearty, deep inside I'm blue. So take a good look at my face and you'll see my smile looks out of place. Look even closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. Prophet Muhammad said that the poets are kin to the prophets. You know why that is? It is because poetry and songs, they come from the inner feelings of people. Feelings hardly ever lie. Matter of fact, feelings are true. They don't lie. The reasons for them are sometimes based on lies, but the feelings themselves are true. So when a man wrote the song to dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go. That come from the inner man. That's the devil's song. He was made dreaming to take God's place, to fight the unbeatable foe. The only unbeatable foe there is God. To bear with, to put up with unbearable sorrow. Who could inflict the kind of sorrow on the people that was inflicted on us except the devil? And put up with it for 300 years straight. To rush in where angels fear to go, where the brave dare not go. Not only is it the song of devils, but it's also the song of angels. The first and the last. To right the unrightable wrong, to save that one that no one else could save. So it's much to be understood about the human family and our makeup. You notice the Chinese they have a little symbol, light and dark, yin and yang. And the two are actually one. I mean, the prophets and the devils all came out of black man. The two are actually one. And now, the understanding of the universe and how it works is made manifest because of the splitting of Adam. There's a great deal that we have to learn now. I've been thinking over what I've been observing, and we are almost at a point now where we can find out really what's truly in the hearts of people. It's all about to be made manifest. It's just like, I was one of the brothers sent me some papers that used to be given out by Royal as lessons. And I know he sent them to me, so because he knew I would probably look at it and say something about it. So, I thought I would speak about it because, to the child's mind, the story of Hansel and Gretel is very interesting and thought-provoking. Everything seems true. Children don't think in terms. A child's mind does not think in terms of true and false. Pardon me, of possible and impossible. They think in terms of true and false. And when someone who is saying things to them that they have no knowledge of, they don't even think in terms of true and false. They think in terms of truth. That is the nature of the child's mind. That whatever that person that talks to them, that's an adult, or that knows things, while the child actually knows nothing, then the child's brain is like an empty house. It will take in whatever furniture can get inside that door. The only time that you have to knock on a door is when you don't know if anybody's home. But on an empty house, if people know a house is empty, they don't go knocking on the door. They just go walk in. If it's a vacant house. A vacant mind is the same way. Once knowledge takes up residence in the mind or the brain, then you have a mind there. Just like when you, now I'm a recognizable mind, because even at birth, we come here with the embryo of a mind. Our mind starts off like the universe, compact, dense, like seeds. They start off dense. Then they open up and begin to expand. And we call that expansion growth. But what's actually happening is that which was inside of the seeds is expanding and manifesting itself. Do you understand? So, and now, understand this. I'm not one who likes to give out false information. So if what I've observed is not accurate, you are welcome to come in here and perfect what I say. And like me, if I say something, I don't expect you to accept it just because I said it. I expect you to accept it only if you can't see a reason why you shouldn't. If you cannot offer a reasonable argument against it, then why not accept it? At least until a reasonable argument against it makes its appearance. Right? Okay, that's the way it is in court. Theoretically, in criminal court, then the person, when they come into court, the symbol for justice, the scale is already out of balance. And the out of balance and the reason justice is portrayed as a woman with a pair of balances in her hand is because the woman, the word woman is actually two words. It's an acronym for womb and man, womb of man. And since man also means mind, and many of you heard W.D. Muhammad say that. That is the truth. Then when you go to any school, a school is a womb. And at the same time, every school was set up by some man. And it's the womb of man, womb of mind. The woman was taken out of the man. The school came out of the mind of man. You know. So we have when we go into the court system, we are trying to learn something. We go in there believing in the innocence of someone who has been brought in there until truth is put in there to prove beyond any reasonable person's being able to put forth facts or questions that create doubt of the person's guilt. And so every time truth is put on the scale against that person, the scales begin to go from presumption of innocence until there's so much weight on the other side that it's not enough to keep that presumption of innocence there. And then the person is found to be guilty beyond a reasonable person having any doubt. You know, and and not just a reasonable person, but beyond any doubt that you can offer reason for. Because there's always doubt if you did not know, if you wasn't there. But do you have reason? Do you have facts that produce doubt? And if you don't have any facts that produce doubt, you don't have a reasonable doubt. Gut feeling ain't no reasonable doubt. Evidence. That's what you need. Do you understand? So I want you to think. And you heard me say things like, as it was in the days of Noah, the imagination of men's hearts was evil continually. These are some of the things that people had to say. After the, about what the president was saying, they had over 1,457 comments. I'm going to read some of the comments. When you get to know people, your fears about them go away. It's true for blacks, gays, transgenders, and Muslims, and anyone else. We are one country, and we must make life peaceful for everyone. All anyone wants is to work and be loved. That's it. Let's move forward together. And that was by a team 5 days ago. TEAM, Team MM. TEAMMM. And it's all one word. So, and fuel injected magpie, he said, duh, that's what bigots do. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Then Joseph Martinez says, it's funny because I don't ever remember Christians going and shooting up Muslims at a party. That's because you don't call people who shoot up Muslims at a party or shoot up anyone at a party. You don't call them a Christian. That young man that went in that church and shot up them people while they was having prayer, he was a racist. He wasn't a Christian. But somehow, because you hate Muslims, you will find someone who says that they are Muslim doing something that's not righteous, but you still call them a Muslim. You are a hypocrite, Joseph Martinez. Is everybody that go to church a Christian? Y'all grew up in church. Was you a Christian when you was there? The thing is, when I was growing up, even though I may have said, well, if people asked me what my religion was, I would say Christianity. But if they asked me, was I a Christian? I said, not yet. I wasn't gonna lie. I knew I wasn't what that meant to me. Because that meant to me was I a righteous person. I'm gonna be calling myself righteous out there drinking and smoking and doing some of everything. Now the preacher up in the pulpit with his cigarettes bulging out his top pocket. Whiskey on his breath. And his pistol in his glove compartment. That's the kind of world you live in. He went on to say, it's funny because I don't ever remember Christians going and shooting up Muslims at a party. What about the Christian Knights of the Ku Klux Klan? You don't remember that? But you notice when I invited the national director of the Klan in here, I didn't say, here's a Christian Knight of the Ku Klux Klan. I said, this is the national director of the Ku Klux Klan. I didn't say this is the national director of the Christian Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Because from the inside, my mother was a Christian, man. And I mean, she was true to that. She lived her life by the Bible. Turn the other cheek and all. never was in a fight, never cursed at nobody. She didn't even hardly raise her voice at nobody. She used to get on my nerves. Cause what? I mean, what little boy want to grow up in Watts and his mama telling him don't fight back? Do you know what they do to you? You don't fight back. You won't never have no lunch money. You won't never have nothing. If you come there with a leather coat on, you won't go home with it. And you turn out to be a coward. So that requires some understanding. And I'm so glad that my daddy, I came home crying one time. I never did it no more because he told me, you better not never come back here crying, talking about you didn't fight back or whatnot. And he telling me what mama said and nobody else said. What did I say? So I was more scared of him than I was people jumping on me, so I fought back. And I like that much better. You know, I would never tell you don't defend yourself. God ain't never told us that. We just misunderstood what turn the other cheek was about. When your enemy smites you on your right cheek, turn to him the other also. If your enemy do that. You see, even Gandhi said that he that hides cowardice under the pretext of being nonviolent, you know, who you should not. It is better to be violent. I was looking at what that day 18, and the limb, you know, the man that do karate a lot on most of his thing. Hannibal, he played Hannibal, and when B.A. Baracus was talking about being nonviolent, and he wasn't going to be violent no more. And you know, once you say you're never going to defend yourself, that's not nonviolence. That's impotence. It is better to be violent than to hide impotence under the cloak of being nonviolent. A coward? Nonviolence simply means that I will not attack you. It don't mean I will not defend myself. That's why you hear people in here come in here sometime. They mistake me for somebody else. They come in here, you verbally attack me, I'm gonna defend myself. You physically attack me, I'm gonna defend myself. And if you didn't want that, you shouldn't have started it. You got your people mixed up. Well, you ain't no son of man, because look at you, getting mad, get mad. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad. You know what Allah said about persecution? He said persecution is worse than slaughter. No man can feel like he's a man if he let another man just run over him and he knew he should have stood up and defended himself. He can't even hardly look at himself. I'd rather take a beat down than to have not tried to defend myself. So if I lost, I ain't got no shame. Ain't no shame in losing if you did the best you could. And if you come back again, we gonna fight again. Now that's how that go. But anyway, here this man want to pretend he didn't grow up. He didn't grow up in America. He don't remember. He said it's funny because I don't ever remember Christians going and shooting up Muslims at a party. I don't remember Christians hijacking planes and murdering innocent men and women and children. You know anything about slavery? See, that's why they don't. You know, these people are just wicked. He says he doesn't say that though. He's talking about President Obama. He doesn't say that. This guy is full of boo-boo. He has truly disappointed me. What disappoints him about President Obama is that President Obama is going to be such a hard president to follow. You know that old saying, you don't miss your water till your well run dry. You ain't gonna miss him until he gone. That's why I told you better try to get with Bernie Sanders, because he's a pretty level-headed man with vision. And if him and Joe Biden was on now Joe Biden would be a good running mate for him. Yeah. Now there's your winning ticket. And because people know Joe Biden cares about America. And historically, when you read up on Bernie Sanders, you know he cares. You see, and trying to run that reverse psychology on us that the Tea Party people been doing, that don't work on me. I don't go with people just because you say or you spend your time fighting against them. I go with people because I recognize what they stand for. And I see other things. You know, I almost hope Donald Trump become the nominee for the Republican Party. You know why? So I could tell all non-white people to boycott the election. I know you may not do it, but I have a very good reason for telling you to do it, not to boycott it, and don't participate in it. It'd be a good way to find out just where everybody stands. Be a very good way to find out where everybody stands. So I hope he get the nomination. Then maybe you and me will really find out the truth. I'm tired of people lying, grinning up in my face and lying and pretending. You think I'm scared because these people got their little guns and stuff around there practicing what they gonna do to me? You remember what happened up there in Colorado? That boy had been taught by his granddaddy how to shoot. And he wound up shooting his own. Didn't Allah tell you, I made the iron, that the smith, I created the smith, meaning blacksmith. I taught him that knowledge. And the iron that he puts into the fire to bring out as a weapon. Tell you something, iron. You know, if you don't have no iron in your body, you check out. Ain't no might check out. You check out. Then iron is a living creature. Now, what you think you're gonna do to the one who have control over that creature that he made serve you when he tell that creature don't serve you no more? Iron don't have to do what you tell it or what you want it to. It do what its creator tell it to do. What its first boss tell it. See, he never relinquished control. He told you how long you had to be over the creation. You got 6 days. And Sabbath day, don't try to do your stuff. When you see me walk outside out there, you ever seen me ducking and looking around when I walk outside? Afraid somebody out there in the woods got a bead on me? No, I'm not afraid you got no bead on me. Only one I'm afraid, the only thing I'm afraid of is that to be careful not to do something that displeases Allah, who raised me and sent me to you. He already told me, he said, son of man, don't be afraid of their words, nor them low down looks they gave you. If looks could kill, boy, you just don't know. But Allah already told me what I was going to see when I'm looking at people. So, now I'll read some more to you. Yayarwe, Yewi, whatever. Mujin. That must be a Chinese. Mujin. M-U-G-E-N. Anyway, he says, your brother lost the leg. B/C. What that mean? Because? Okay. See, I ain't too slow, am I? He said, your brother lost the leg because he was an idiot in defending corporate U.S. interests. Now, let me get this right. The president lost a leg. He lost his standing. That's that, you know, they talking their language, you know. He lost his standing because he was defending U.S. corporate interests. So the president of the United States is not supposed to be concerned about corporations' interests. Is that what I'm understanding him to say? You know who makes the jobs in this country? It's corporations. The president been trying to get corporations to get back in America. I hope he's trying to look out for their interests. I don't resent him for being the president of not just the there wouldn't be no cities if it wasn't for corporations. I don't resent him for that. See, this is what it is. These people don't know, they don't have the slightest clue as to what true leadership is. Just because the president says that he wants wealthy people to pay their fair share, that don't mean he hates wealthy people. And that don't mean he wants to see them lose their wealth. He's simply saying that, man, look, you don't muzzle the cow that give out the milk. You don't get rich off of the country, and you getting rich off of things that the highway system, for instance, didn't no private corporation do that. That's the government is responsible for the highway system. Then why you don't want to support the government? You got all these, he made that point perfectly clear, but the news media went and putting their spin on it, and he said, we didn't build this, and he said that. You some crazy folks. I tell you what, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, how many corporations went there and fought the fight? Or was it the American people at the behest of the American people's government? You didn't hate the government when it protected America, because you know what would have happened if you'd have lost the war. Your corporate interest was gone. You see, I didn't like being made a fool of. That's why I teach you like I teach you, so that hopefully nobody will ever be able to make a fool out of you ever again. You see, these people get away with this stuff because nobody answers them. They just throw something out there, any kind of old crazy thought, and this is crazy. He said, your brother lost the leg because he was an idiot in defending corporate U.S. interests. The USA was never in threat. Never. Your brother lost a leg for corporate interests. Not for the people of the USA. The people of the USA have 300 million guns to ourselves. We are not in any threat from anyone other than within. Their country, it says their country, and you can put a question mark. They are fighting for U.S. corporate interests, not for the people. So you are a white Muslim convert. There needs to not be millions of Muslims in the USA. They have their lands. And you read more. Let me see. It said they have their lands and nations. Why don't they make them better there, rather than running from the problem and allow it to exacerbate? You know, it's amazing to me how people claim to have so much to say, and they have such little respect for their own words that they don't even think enough of their own writings to make sure that it's legible. See, now, if this was on a post of mine, you wouldn't see all that. You know why? Because I always invite them to come in. Now, you done made your complaint. Just like when you see somebody come in court, they done wrote out a complaint. They done swore out a complaint. Then they make you come in there and defend what you swore out. When I invite them to come in here and defend what they say, you don't hear from them no more. He punks out. You see? So they got all this hateful stuff to say about President Obama. And if you bring one of them in here and ask him, what has President Obama done that has caused injury to America? I'm asking him now. Come in here and tell us. What has he done that has caused injury to America? There you go. Look to me like America is getting respected again. You know, when people, you need to start holding people accountable. If you post something on the internet or whatnot, show your man and womanhood by inviting anyone to come in there and yes, by all means, come and post your thoughts. But be willing to defend what you post, or don't use my site for graffiti. If you consider yourself an adult, why would you let children play with you? You notice, what did I tell Mikael when he come in here talking about he jousting with me? I said, I'm not here to play with you. You go do that with your little sick friends that you hanging out with. You don't do that with me. Now, if you have a legitimate argument for me, I'm willing to hear it. But just coming in here, you lose before you even get started. I ask you one question. Are you the spirit of truth? You can't say yes. Because then if you say yes, it's not time for you to question me. It's time for you to be quiet and let me question you. How many times did a class clown get embarrassed when the teacher said, oh, you know this better than me, right? Well, you come on up here and you teach it. I'm going to sit out there with you where you at, and you answer all of the questions. Your teacher never did that. Did any of y'all have a teacher that did that? Huh? Raise your hand if you did. I know I did. That'll stop you from clowning quick, man. You know, because the whole class now get a chance to see how stupid you are. Nobody like to be called stupid. But if you was that silly and the teacher called you out and you knew you couldn't teach. So why was you sitting back there acting a fool? You think this, what I'm doing is easy? Come get up here and I'll sit out and question you. We'll see how easy it is. When you know how, everything is easy. When you don't know how, everything is hard. Easy and hard are frames of mind. Just like this here, some of this stuff Royal had put out here about the natural laws of the universe. The law of perpetual transmutation. Okay. Energy moves into physical form. The images you hold in your mind most often materialize in results in your life. What that mean? Then you'll hear some people talking, that's deep. In the first place, when you say energy moves into physical form, no, energy does not move into physical form. That's to suggest that energy was not already in that form. There's no such thing as matter that does not contain energy. Because all matter is if you break it down to its simplest form, you break it down to the atom. Its atomic structure, the atom is energy. You see, so, you know, this is somebody, see, he's out there trying to sound intelligent. You know, it's just like when I was growing up, them hustlers and pimps, they used to practice their lines. I remember, and not just hustlers and pimps, when brothers got ready to talk to sisters, we used to sit around and listen to some of the older brothers practicing what they was gonna say to a woman. And that kind of thing. It used to be funny to me. Because I never could do it because I was too shy. And, you know, I you know, that just wasn't me, but some of my older brothers, hey girl, is your husband married? That kind of stuff, you know, all kind of old crazy stuff. You know, and just, you know, them one-liners and whatnot. That's all this stuff is. You know, the law of perpetual transmutation. It's all matter is transmutable. That's where we get the term everything is everything. You notice, you looking at transmutation when you look at a cow eating grass. And as the cow eats the grass, then those nutrients that were in that grass now are turned loose and become part of that flesh. So you understand? Then when the cow died, then them nutrients that's in the cow, in that material that the cow is made out of, goes back to that grass. All we are as grass and flesh, it's all came from dust. And your greatest proof of it is if you leave the grass in the dust and leave the flesh in the dust, pretty soon it's all dust again.
Son of man.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say about me and my partner, he was talking about how deep he was, man.
Well, it ain't about me being deep. Allah is the one that's deep, brother. He just give me what to share with y'all. The truth is everywhere and in everything. You know, we hear the term that Allah is omnipresent. And what that means he's present everywhere at once, which means he don't have to come anywhere. When the messenger said that Allah appeared to him in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, he was talking about the truth that Master Farad Muhammad made known that was in him, that manifested out of that man. Then that was Allah. And he recognized that the word that was with that man is what made that man God. He was the best knower. And he came to fulfill a promise that was made 6,000 years ago. That before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord, of the Sabbath day, he promised to send Elijah. And that's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told everybody that we have two gods here. He said one is called God and the other one is called the Holy One. Now, which one should we take for our God? He said, now he taught on these things. It's because the Holy Scriptures was to be made flesh, and that makes the Holy One. But anyway, it's much to be learned here. But anyway, let's get back to this. Then, as long as we start thinking that the flesh is to God, we are just as blind as the white man have been. When we understand that the truth is God, then we understand why God, his religion always has been and always will be entire submission to his will. And that's just the way it is. So I was just showing you this boy. I didn't know what he's talking about the law of perpetual transmutation. And then he talks about something that ain't got nothing to do with transmutation. Then it goes on, the law of relativity. Nothing is good or bad, big or small, until you relate it to something. And the thing is, it is when you relate it to something else. That's what it should have said. But even that, it's not actually the best way to say that. Because when you say nothing is good or bad, big or small, well, those are relative terms. And there is no bad until you determine that which is good. And to say that there is no good or bad, you'd have done better to say there was no good or bad manifested, because there has always been good, because God is good. The truth is good, and it has always been good. But the forming the truth into a doctrine that would guide the temple of truth to oneness with goodness. Now that had to be done. That's why the scripture says, I form the light. That's what the Holy Scriptures are. They are light of understanding of how to reach goodness and peace. And once he formed the light, he created darkness. And you notice when a man form any new school of thought, he has also created a new ignorance. Because now he the only one that know them thoughts, and he have to explain them to people who are ignorant to the understanding of what he has discovered. Look what Einstein did when he left that formula here of E equals mc squared. Well, that had to be figured out. They had to take that, and he gave them the answer, but they had to get the whole equation together to figure out how to utilize that knowledge that he left here. You see? So it's not so much is knowing all the answers, because you can have all of the answers because the universe is filled with answers. But you got to know what question to ask. You see? If you know what question to ask, if you understand what you're asking, then you discover that half of your answer is in the question. Once you know what questions to ask, then the universe will help, it will guide you to the answer. All you have to do is know what question to ask. It'll guide you to the answer, just like a good lawyer in court. If he know what questions to ask, he'll probably never lose a case. If he know what questions to ask. You see? So I show you that all of the time. People come in here and I start asking them questions, and when they think about the answer to the question, they realize I got them. Then they try to duck out or duck the question, get away without answering. You know, you lost then. Because if you were a truthful person, you would not try to duck. You'd answer the question. Anyway, then he goes on, practice relating your situation to something much worse, and yours will always look good. Well, now he's telling you how to deceive yourself. But he, to the unlearned mind, they think that's something profound. Good is not something that's in relationship. You don't determine good by relating it to something else. Good is good regardless to what else you relate it to. Good does not become something else simply because you put it up next to something else. You see, bad is the absence of good. Like darkness. Darkness does not actually exist. Darkness is created by the absence of light. And I don't know how you can actually any place where you are, whether you realize it or not, light is present because you emit light. Wherever matter is, light is present. There is no place in the universe that we know of that there is no matter. So consequently, we created darkness. By the way our eyes are formed, we created darkness. You see? And the next thing says, the law of vibration. Everything vibrates. Nothing rests. Conscious awareness of vibration is called feeling. Your thoughts control your paradigms and your vibration. That's just when you look at a table, the table, even though it looks like it's still, there's movement in that table. There ain't no thought in that table. So there you go. Thought don't control the movement in that table. But understand this, that's because everything is alive. You see? And so there again, he goes on to say, when you are not feeling good, become aware of what you are thinking, then think of something pleasant. When you are not feeling good, and you can't just change your thought and make yourself feel better. Generally, when the human being does not feel good, then just thinking about something else does not make you feel better. Solving the problem of whatever it is making you feel bad, that's what will. So you seek the knowledge of how to solve the problem that has you feeling bad. Do you understand? Now, there are cases where sometimes you have thoughts that depress you. Well, in that case, what you do is when you are having depressing thoughts, thinking over situations that you don't have a solution for, you can do with thoughts the same thing you do with packages that get too heavy for you. If you had to walk home with after doing some shopping with some heavy packages, you can always have sense enough to put it down until you feel like carrying it some more. Uh-huh. Well, likewise. I do that all of the time. Sometimes things be waiting on me and I can't solve them right now. I just go pop me a movie and look at me a movie or something. Get my mind on something else. I don't leave that alone for a while. I'll think about it later. I ask Allah to please help me to figure this thing out. Then I go on and forget about it. Sometime in the next hour, I'll be done figured it out. Sometime the next day after I done went to sleep on it. You hear people all the time say, I'm gonna leave it alone now. I'm gonna sleep on it. That's because the mind is something. Your brain don't sleep. The brain don't sleep. If the brain slept, you wouldn't dream. Your brain do more work when you sleep than it do when you woke. So, because then it concentrate on other things. But anyway, the human being, we are our greatest mystery. You know. But anyway, so no, you don't think pleasant thoughts. So think something pleasant. That's a child's answer to problems. Problems are there like steps. You notice, to solving problems, you always have steps you have to take. Right? And once you finish solving them steps and you figure the problem out, then you can skip some steps and all of that kind of thing. You can even make an elevator. Right? Once you solve the thing, it's no longer a problem. Instead of having problems, you then have solutions. And the more solutions you have, the more godly you become. You see, I'd say God-like. You see, which means to be like God. You see, and people go looking for truth. It's like looking for water. When I say looking for truth, I mean looking for the understanding of how to solve some problem, or looking for understanding of something in particular that they have questions about. Once you have the answers, then you become a well of water when it comes to that. People, you may see somebody and say, "What's wrong?" They say, "Well, man, I'm trying to find out what such and so." Then that's like going to a well and drawing some water out. And you say, "Oh, well, I know how to do that. Did you do such and so and such and so and so?" You say, "Oh, thank you." Right? And so then the next thing, he said, the law of polarity. Everything has an opposite. Hot, cold, up, down, good, bad. Constantly look for the good in people and situations. When you find it, tell the person. People love compliments, and the positive idea in your mind makes you feel good. Remember, good idea, good vibration. And that's shallow people love compliments. People who are striving for perfection would much rather hear corrections than compliments. I'm not interested in hiding my faults. I'm interested in correcting them. But that's why most people always follow the wrong way, because they always go where nobody condemns anything they're doing. You see, that's what he was playing on. He's playing on people's liking to be complimented. He probably been reading that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. You want to run game on people, just tell them what they want to hear. Well, what do they want to hear? Everybody want to hear how good they are. Yeah. And that's not true. What is true is almost everybody wants to hear compliments. But I was warned by Solomon. He said, beware of the flattering tongue. Anyway, so he goes on down here, all this foolishness. And that's why he ain't out there no more. And if he is, ain't nobody listening to him. But people who want to do what he been doing. So now I want to show you something else. I done had enough of it. I mean, they go down the line here. Looking at some of the comments here, if I would be President Obama, I would cry every night at the stupidity of the people that I must govern. Greetings from Europe. I told you, people outside of America have great respect for President Obama. They know you a fool. He in the midst of fools, yeah. But in spite of all that, you know what they say, what God do? God takes care of old folks and fools. America is full of childlike people, bunch of spoiled brats. Yeah. Children, they throw stones and then hide. That's what they do on the internet. I invite them into ours all the time. They always throwing some hateful remark at me. And then I tell brother, invite them in here to discuss that with me. What do you do, brother? Don't even reply. Every now and then one of them reply. And you notice I bring them in here and I say, this one said this about me. Then when they get in front of me, they get tongue-tied. But I want to help them grow up. You can't help a child grow up by ignoring him. You help him grow up by giving him your attention, by letting him know, you got my attention. Now, what is it that you said? Then he start telling you how he didn't mean no harm. Then he says, Yahweh, we said, we are not citizens of any nation. We are sovereigns. We done heard that one before, right? Sovereigns are not citizens. They are contradictory terms and cannot exist simultaneously. You are born free. You do not need to claim freedom. Only fight to remain free from those who do not believe you are born free. You see what you get when you anyway. He said, my citizenship is in heaven, nowhere else. I guess he don't know that the Bible says that the continents we living on is heaven. Yes. Anyway, it says, what post? Comment did I skip over? Point it out and I will respond. And the next fellow said, awesome speech. He was talking about what President Obama said. An awesome speech, which was very much needed. Awesome president. An awesome president. Many are hoping that Obama can somehow stay our president several more years. America needs him now more than ever. Now, that was Dimitri Aquilonian. And that, so, everybody's not crazy, but some people who are blinded by unjustifiable hatred and all of that kind of thing. See, whenever you have strong emotions, they cloud your vision. So I want to show you what the press been doing. And the best way to show you what the press been doing is to let them tell you themselves. Now, you can go on there and see all them some of them crazy remarks people had to make. But this one man said, his name is Maimuna Rashid. Do you negative commenters hear yourself? Do you seriously read the words that you type? Seriously. I'm really interested to know what goes on in your minds as you type this stuff. So in the beginning, he says you should recognize the saying, treat others the way you want to be treated. Isn't that what we've been taught since day one? Where does this discrimination come from? I don't get it. I honestly don't. What wrong has most of the Muslim population done to you to get that hate? Do you not feel bad when another Muslim or actually any person of any belief feels like utter, and then he put the S word? Because not just you, but many others have degraded and condescendingly spoken to them. Whether you're Christian or Muslim or Jew or atheist, that's not your only identity. Whether you're lesbian, gay, straight, bisexual, pansexual, asexual, transgender, intersex, that's not your only identity. Hate is in the world. People will hate just to hate. Honestly, I'm curious, what goes on in your head when you leave hateful comments, when you speak hatefully to others? The speech he has said today isn't just for those with religious beliefs. You can listen to this with a different perspective, whether it's for sexuality or it's for different faith. There is the same message. We are all God's children. We are all Americans. We are all here on the earth and brothers and sisters. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate because haters will hate. But those I've reached out to, spread the message on. Stop hating on others because you're afraid or because they're different. Hatred only separates. Love for all and hatred for none. And he obviously took the time to read what he was posting, which means he cared. So that was very good, Maimuna. I don't know if that's a woman's name or a man's name, but it was a good. So, no matter what you do, when people in this world, the people of this world, they are unjust. And so when a person, as Allah told me, he said, Son of Man, those who disbelieve that you are the Son of Man, it is the same to them whether you give them warning from me or warn them not. They are not going to believe in you. That was just another way of saying that you're going to be rejected by most of them. But you warn them so that later on they can't say that I did not send a warner. You see, but to set my heart at ease, he told me what you was going to do before, he told Moses. I am the Moses. As he said, I'm the prophetic one, not the one who brought the Torah. I'm the one like that one. And he said, now you go there and tell Pharaoh, you give him warning, But I'm going to harden his heart that he don't let him go. What does that say? Pharaoh going to reject you. Huh? Why? Because and now you're going to see what I'm going to do to him. Huh? Yeah. Allah's finna make an example. The moon was one example 66 trillion years ago. But you don't forget that one. He finna make another example. So now I want you to look at this. This is Babylon 5. And it's a part here in it that talks about what the press does. So I want you to see. Because all of these scripts that people write, most of them came out of stuff they done seen. That's all it is. It's imitation of life.
Captain, I was just on my way to see you. I told some of the other doctors off standby duty in Medlabs 3 and 4, and I wanted you to know. Why? Well, we've got some problems with the telepaths locked up in cryogenic freeze. Anything serious? No, just some mechanical problems with the freezer, so we're moving half of them to another freezer bank. We're not really set up to handle this many, so we've had to improvise. And they require constant supervision during the changeover.
Then take what you need. I hope you can help them, Stephen. I hate to keep them frozen like this.
I don't think we have much choice. All that leftover shadow technology still in their heads, they're a menace to themselves and to other people. We'll figure it out eventually.
You know, you fight a war, and everyone forgets the people that get caught in the middle. Something tells me we'll be dealing with this legacy the shadows left behind for a long, long time. Yes?
Captain, he's here.
On my way. I thought we saw the worst of it with the shadows, the Orlons, the war. There's something far worse than the shadows. Reporters.
Captain Sheridan, Dan Rand, ISN News. Thank goodness someone reasonable to talk to.
Oh, thank you. Such a sweet.
People who twist the truth. See, an enemy that's trying to physically kill you is not the worst kind of enemy. But an enemy that would purposely misrepresent what you stand for. And sit back and watch and promote and encourage people to want to murder you. Now that's a worse enemy than a person that's an honest enemy of yours. That's why the Holy Quran says, if an unrighteous man brings you news, look carefully into it, lest you harm a people and then be sorry for what you did. You remember on Oprah, I showed you where those young men had grew up and they were sitting there crying when they remembered how they acted with her when they was younger, skinheads and that kind of stuff. Because they trusted the people who was giving them news about how to feel about black people, and discovered that they had just been lied to. So what he said about the press, you know, they can be worse. The tongue is an unruly member, full of deadly poison. The word of God says that. Any man that claimed to be righteous and bridleth not his tongue. Where's that, brother? Where is it? So I don't have to move this off the screen. The tongue is an unruly member, full of deadly poison. Is that Romans? Or where is it? Come on now, y'all always talking about how much you believe in the Bible, and I don't never get no help from the people out there that claim to believe so much in the Bible.
James chapter 3.
What is it?
James chapter 3.
In James chapter 3. What verse? Okay, let me get over here to the book of James. I always have trouble finding them little books. Just a moment. I'll get it in a minute. No, it's right here in the back. Okay. What's this? My brethren, I'm going to start at the first verse. My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. You know why he said that? Masters mean rabbis, teachers. Because what you going to do when the Son of Man show up, who didn't come to be ministered unto? You're going to receive the greater damnation, because you're not going to believe in the Son of Man when he come, and he that believeth not on the Son is condemned already. And so it says, for in many things we offend all. Donald Trump needs to read that one, don't he? In many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. You'll notice, even when I be fussing at people, you ain't never heard me get abusive. That's why they keep coming back. Because what they would actually like me to do is to get abusive. So they could say, aha, I told you. That nigga so-and-so and so-and-so, right? But all I do is tell them the truth. If I call him a hypocrite, I say, I can tell you why, and I can prove that that's what you are. So you can't accuse me of calling you out of your name. So it says, behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths that they may obey us. And we turn about their whole body. Behold, all also the ships, which though they be so great and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listeth. Even so, the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire, a whirl of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature. And it is set on fire of hell. Hell is misunderstanding. Because if a man really had understanding, he would not go around spreading lies about other people. He would not, just like they stand up and you hear all these people in politics. They sit up and talk about the president and lie on the poor man and don't think nothing of it. And then they attribute it to that's politics. Get out in the senators, lying on senators, misrepresenting their statements. And then you wonder why the people don't trust the government, because the people who supposed to be running for office in the government are liars. And the news media helps them lie. If a senator came out and said something about, if the news media did their job, all that lying would stop. You know why? Because when they said something that about another one, said, well, get the people the proof of what you're saying. He said, what? What do you mean? I mean, you just said this man did such and so, such and so. Where's your proof? Then who looks bad? That's the reason why they don't come in here. You remember when I was talking to Miss Allred and I was leading up to asking her, everybody knew what I was leading up to. If Dr. Cosby was your client, would you ask him to do would you permit him to do what you asking to be done? She had to go, remember? Yes. Even said, well, he can just give up his right to what did he say? He could give up his right to the statutory claim that, and let all these people and put up $100 million and let everybody that think they got a suit against him, let them come out and we'll appoint a special some special judges to decide who gets money and who don't. And when I was about to ask her, would you advise your client to do something like that? if he was your client, if they did that would be malpractice. But you know, people think you're stupid. They think all black people are stupid. You know why they think we're stupid? That's our fault. You see what just happened in Flint? They're looking at us And what did she see us doing? I mean, even the mayor, she thought that she needed to shake, what that man named? The governor, Snyder, Rick Snyder. She there shaking his hand for, well, I wouldn't have shook his hand. I told him, you dare to offer me to shake my hand after you done poisoned my people? No, I don't want to shake your hand. I want you arrested. For murder and attempted murder. Actually, crimes against humanity. And you know, some of them sitting up out there right now hating me for what I just said. And too cowardly to come in here and talk to me and express themselves. I'll let you. Come on in here and tell me how wrong I am for what I just said. That's why don't nobody respect us. Anyway, you waiting on everybody to fight our cause. And then when the ones in position of leadership see that kind of stuff, what? What are you afraid of? You scared somebody gonna kill you? They already killing us. Tell our leaders to give the Son of Man a call. And tell them to let me come up there and talk with them. I'll show you what to do about it. And I ain't talking about throwing no bricks and Molotov cocktails either. It's enough people in the city of Flint that we can fix that problem. I'll show you what to do about it. We ain't got to have no committee meeting. That's the same thing I offered to the Nation of Islam before it fell apart. Just give me a chance. I can help you. No, they'd rather die. Yeah. Okay, right on. Anyway, let's get back to this. Now, watch this reporter here. And he's a good example. This character is a good example of what happens in the news media.
She threatened to grab me by the collar and throw me out an airlock if I didn't turn over a full manifest of our equipment.
Unauthorized shipments are a threat to station security. We had to.
Commander, did you threaten to grab a hold of this man by the collar and throw him out an airlock?
Yes, I did.
I'm shocked. Shocked and dismayed. I'd remind you that we are short on supplies here. We can't afford to take perfectly good clothing and throw it out into space. Always take the jacket off first. I told you that before. Sorry, she meant to say stripped naked and thrown out an airlock. I apologize for any confusion this may have caused.
Maybe.
What did the reporter just try to do? Don't get caught up in the humor. You notice the reporter started laughing too. So what was that about? I didn't hear you. Not just over exaggeration. What was it really about? To cause division. To cause the commanding officer to fall out with his first officer and create an atmosphere of hostility that would serve what he served the purpose of him getting more information that he can turn into disinformation. You know, we ain't supposed to catch this kind of stuff, you see. But I told you, you at the end. So it's time that we understand this. So Allah, he whispers in my ear, now this is what you're looking at here. And this what he's making me know them by their works. So let's go a little bit further.
I should start again.
That would be wise.
Yes, very.
We changed the manifest because we knew if you found out we were a news crew, you wouldn't let us on the station.
Well, that assumption was your first mistake. We have an open door policy.
And an open airlock policy.
Commander,
Sorry.
President Clark put the embargo around Babylon 5. We didn't.
And then you would have let us on.
You, yes. Your equipment, no. Mr. Randall, everyone knows that ISN is a propaganda arm for President Clark. You didn't come here to do an objective story.
There's no such thing. The objective journalist is one of those great myths you read about, like a griffin or a phoenix or an honest politician. Everybody's got an agenda, whether they admit it or not. But you try not to let it get in the way of the truth.
Now you notice, said there ain't no such thing as an honest politician. That's why they have two words, a politician and a statesman. You see, most people think it's the same thing, but it's not. A statesman's agenda, he wears on his sleeve. In other words, there is no other motive other than he wants to serve. The politician, he says what he thinks you want to hear and tells you a lot of things that he wants to do, having no intentions of doing any of it. He's got a public agenda and he's got a private agenda. And he's telling you, this is what he just said about news. You see this right now on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News, especially on CNN and Fox News. I'll grant MSNBC a little slack that they sometimes try to be the news instead of propaganda, but all of them doing it. They don't just tell the news, they sit around and tell you what to think about it. And it's not objective because they don't open up their airways or phone lines or whatnot to responsible people of different views. It's just like I told you. You think they don't know that I talk about them? Why have they never found me? They went past Mississippi to Florida and found the man that was getting ready to burn some Qurans, and they know he spoke with me. And they heard him say he don't have no problem with me. They wasn't interested in that though, because they have a narrative that they want to put out there about Muslims that's not true. So they can't bring a true Muslim in there. Otherwise, their narrative about Muslims falls apart. It's just like, why do you think people that have been with me for years, all of a sudden they'll say, I can't take this no more, I'm out of here. And I told you what it is they can't fake this no more. Because the minute they start entertaining the evil thoughts and crazy thoughts about me, they wasn't ever again paying any attention to what Allah was giving me to share with them. Until pretty soon they just couldn't, Allah pluck them up. And that's the way, you know, when people have an agenda, a newsman with an agenda is not a newsman. And when I say an agenda, that he didn't come to find the truth, he came to verify and to prove a point. Do you understand? All right. So just listen.
Look, I won't lie to you. You're absolutely right about ISN, which is why most of us quit as soon as Clark took over. But a few of us stayed on, figuring we could try to slip the truth in quietly and in small bites while the big boys weren't looking. That's exactly why I fought to get this assignment.
So you could tell the whole truth?
No, not the whole truth. Just as much as I can without getting into trouble. But even a little truth is better than none. Captain, we're here now. And one way or another, we have to go back with the story. If you work with us, we can try to get your side of things across to the viewers. But we'll have to be careful, but it can be done. If you don't, we'll do the story anyway. There'll be nobody to represent your point of view. Now, is that really what you want?
Now, let me tell you how to deal with people like that, with the news media. Whenever the news media, whenever you give interviews to them, now I'm saying this for other people because I speak for us. Always have your cameraman recording it too. You hear what I say? Then you can let them come on in and do their interview with your camera crew standing there recording it too. Then, when they go back and replay it, whatever went on the cutting room floor and whatever kind of spin they tried to put on it, in the end, when you run the real truth, it will manifest what they did. Do you understand? If that's one of the reasons why they'll invite a lot of people to their studio. And if that be the case, you tell them that if they don't want your cameraman in there, then I want a copy of this as soon as it finished. And I want to verify that it is a true copy before I leave. Do you understand? Yeah. So let's go back. Now he done convinced them that he's trying to do the right thing, right? Okay.
This particular statue means a great deal to me and my family. We lost it when we were evacuated from the Iridian colony.
It must have great sentimental value, huh?
Oh, substantial. Yeah. While we were gone, the scavenger fleet got past our senses and ransacked the entire colony. Oh, it's a terrible thing. Yeah. It belonged to my dear departed wife. We still have our culture, our language.
I don't care what you believe in. The point is, aside from the Centauri, all of the other maker religions are monotheistic. They don't allow the keeping of alien gods. Something about eternal damnation, plague, pox, the usual. Not the kind of things that you want to pass on to your kids.
Look, Mr. Garibaldi, I have no reason to tell you.
I'm not finished. No, you're right. The statue itself is worthless, but it's big enough to hide lots of stuff inside. Now, my guess is when the evacuation began, you grabbed as many valuables as you could and you hid the rest. Your identicard says you're a xenoarchaeologist, which means you would have had access to artifacts from other worlds. Like this. And what better hiding place than a statue to a god your own people would avoid and the scavengers would ignore, because we all know that most Drazi statues have no actual value. Well, it must have been a real shock when you made it to the safe haven and you found out the scavenger fleet was piloted by Drazi and Chocolat is the patron saint of pilots.
Fine. How much do you want?
500 credit deposit, 20% of everything you find inside this thing.
10.
15, and let you walk out of here without telling the Drazi you've been poking holes in their deities.
Done. Let me know if you find it.
Not if. When?
Hello, Mr. Garibaldi.
Hey, Mr. Lanier. Welcome to my office. Something I can do for you?
I had heard that you resigned. At first, I chose not to believe it, but now...
It's the least we could do.
Here we are. So
As we gone.
Yes. Are you sure everything's all right, Mr. Garibaldi?
Well, yeah, fine. I just want to talk about... Yep, works every time. Speak the devil's name, and he shall appear. Michael? Captain.
Mr. Lanier, I'd like you to meet Dan Randall. He's a journalist from Earth. I'd like you to show him around. I'll act as his liaison while he's here.
Mr. Allen would...
We need Mr. Randall to believe that everything he sees and hears is the truth and not trumped up for his benefit. You can help ease his mind.
Then I am happy to serve. If you'll come with me, Mr. Randall, we will begin your introduction to the station. This is the open market.
You work for no one but us.
stranded when they run out of money. They become a cheap workforce for some of the less reputable businessmen.
So they're exploited.
Sometimes, yes. The captain stops it when he hears of it. He's instituted work programs so that they can earn money while helping to repair the station. More people have come here since your president.
Just a moment. And hung up. Sometimes they do this. So just give me a minute. You know, you can really see the truth of what's been going on when you look at how they write scripts. You know, you notice that's sci-fi, science, truth in a fictional format. You know, just give me a minute here.
Which is good. It's all racist.
You work for no one but us. You work for no one but us. You work for no one but us. Station is known as Down Below. Babylon 5 is
always had an underclass. People who come here in search of a better life and find themselves stranded when they run out of money. They become a cheap workforce for some of the less reputable businessmen.
So they're exploited.
Sometimes, yes. The captain stops it when he hears of it. He's instituted work programs so that they can earn money while helping to repair the station. More people have come here since your president declared martial law on Earth. Doctor, this is Dr. Stephen Franklin. In addition to his other duties, he operates a free clinic for these people. Doctor, this is Dan Randall. He's a journalist from Earth.
Oh, yeah, the captain said you were on your way. Sorry, we're in a bit of a hurry. We just had a case of cardiac arrest.
Then perhaps we can talk later.
Yeah, I'll try. I'm a bit busy. Yeah.
Dr. Franklin, the cryo units are ready for restart.
I'll be right there.
Perhaps you do not understand the nature of my concern, Captain.
I understand completely, Lionel.
No, I don't think so. When I said my quarters were cold, I did not mean, I think it's a little chilly in here. Perhaps I'll throw a blanket on the bed. No, I said it was cold. As in, oh, look, my left arm has snapped.
I don't know why this thing is acting like this. Just a moment. But you'll see the point in a minute. Might be time for me to get another computer. We'll see. Or maybe it's too much stuff on here. Y'all give me a minute. But I definitely wanted you to understand As we bring this out, you will bear witness that it's just the truth. It's not something that we making up or trying to put a spin on, because you're getting this straight from the horse's mouth. So just give me a minute. Get these languages straight. Turn off the closed caption.
This latest victory against the tyranny of a fanatical few who have endangered the lives of our
of the inner circle who's been here ever since Babylon 5 went online. You have a unique perspective. I'd be remiss if I left here without giving a few minutes.
Look, you can talk about anything you want. Your time here, what you did during the war, your co-workers, President Clark, whatever. You've got a free shot.
Looks like you had the same idea I did.
Who's got time for dinner these days? I just figured I'd grab something to eat while we watch the Stellar cast. Still incoming?
She was right behind me, but Marcus had some questions.
Do you have the same ugly feeling I have about all this? I mean, we both know there's going to be some bias here.
Well, that's another reason I went along with this. We knew they were going to take a shot at us sooner or later. Might as well get it all out in the open and see what they've got. We did the best we could. Anything we said, we kept down to short declarative sentences, make it harder for them to quote us out of context. We didn't have a big crisis while they were here. What can they do to us?
Sorry. Has it started yet?
Just about. Well, let's see what's on. With our luck, it'll probably be a commercial.
This is an Interstellar Network News special report. Reporting live from the ISN headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, your host, Allison Higgins.
Almost 2 weeks ago, we sent reporter Dan Randall to get a behind-the-scenes look at the current situation on Babylon 5, which broke away from Earth last year and was recently added to the forbidden list for travel and commerce. We'll have that story for you later in our broadcast. First, these headlines. President Clark announced today that Earth Force troops have now reclaimed 75% of the colony, which broke away in an act of sedition 259 days ago. Today, to the cheering of its citizens, they liberated New Vegas and Flinttown. To celebrate this latest victory against the tyranny of a fanatical few who have endangered the lives of our citizens, Clark proclaimed today a planetary holiday. Curfew has been extended 2 full hours until 9 p.m. Earth Standard Time, so go out and enjoy. Meanwhile, hearings began today in the newly reconstituted Senate as the Committee on Anti-Earth Activities heard testimony from witnesses in the fields of entertainment, business, and local politics. The first day of testimony confirms what President Clark announced late last year, that these and other fields have been infiltrated by alien sympathizers determined to bring down EarthGov. Each witness named at least 10 people who will now be taken into custody and questioned. The first of these, Tri-Bit writer-producer Lee Parks, freely admitted his involvement in the conspiracy.
I voluntarily confess that I helped alien governments undermine EarthGov by using my tri-vids to convey messages of rebellion, disregard for authority, immorality, and violence. I realize now that I was being used by outside forces to harm my own people. I apologize to my family, my wife, Deborah.
Now, in the movie there, they had tortured the poor man and made him got him to say all that. And they were gonna do later on, they do the same thing to the captain there. To, remember waterboarding, that kind of thing. You torture somebody long enough, you can almost make them say whatever you want them to say. Do you understand? But the media, working hand in hand with the crooks in the government, giving the public misinformation and what they call disinformation to get the public to go along with what the crooks in the government want to do. Do you understand? You see, you remember what Grover Norquist came out there and said? He said that if they sign the pledge, they get to govern. And I helped make that happen. You remember he said that? So where does that leave us who do the voting? I thought we made that happen. But they take the media and give us false information that persuades us to vote for whoever they tell us to. At least that's the game that they've been playing. The internet kind of messed that up. That's why they've been trying to do something about regulating the internet. Huh? They just can't, they just can't figure out a way to do it because the internet is all over the world. And so all of them would have to get in on it. So they're working on that now. Do you understand? But Allah working on something too. The ice still melting, and so are the elements. And the shock of the hour is a grievous thing. So let's listen to the poor man after they done tortured him and made him confess to something that wasn't true. Now,
my fellow citizens, for my crimes, assisting me in these acts of sedition were tri-vid writer Calvin Jericho and actors Beth Trumbo and Adrian Mostel.
Parks was later conveyed to a hospital where he will receive proper care and treatment so that he can one day return to society an active and productive citizen.
This year in history. 300 years ago today, in 1961, Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit the Earth. In 1999, North American President Bill Clinton created the President's Commission on the Future. In 2018, the foundation for Luna Colony was laid in the Sea of Tranquility. And 100 years ago today, the Psi Corps was created.
Good evening, I'm Dan Randall. When we first approached the Ministry of Information with the idea of traveling to Babylon 5 for this story, they advised against it. They believed it would put the safety of myself and our news crew in jeopardy. But the first rule of journalism is you go where the story is. Still, nothing could have prepared us for what we found. From the outside, Babylon 5 is all business as usual. Note that ship berthed outside the station. We'll come back to it. The conditions inside Babylon 5 are another matter altogether. Most of the human residents have been forced to live in squalid, filthy, possibly disease-ridden areas of the station, denied proper sanitation and health care. The better quarters are reserved for high-ranking alien guests and those who run the station built with the tax dollars of many of these citizens. It's ironic that Minbari, who fought Earth in a war of aggression, have been appointed keepers of these poor, struggling pockets of humanity, trapped in the coldness of space. Here a high-ranking Minbari reviews the terrible conditions. Any attempt at protest is cruelly put down, and those responsible are sedated and taken away. The question is, taken where? As we toured the station, it became clear that the alien governments are calling the shots on Babylon 5. Even the station's renegade leader, John Sheridan, appeared subservient to the tempers of alien representatives. What's not as clear is why a decorated war hero who fought aliens during the war and allegedly broke away from Earth to achieve greater freedom would tolerate such behavior.
This is highly inappropriate, Captain.
To find some answers to these questions, we turned to the experts. Dr. William Induri is Dean of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School and a leading expert on xenopsychology and Minbari War Syndrome. Dr. Induri, you've seen the same footage I have. What's your...
Now, I want you to pay good attention to what the psychologist says about the human mind.
Analysis.
Well, then we have to start off by remembering that many veterans of the Earth-Minbari War suffer from a kind of inferiority complex when it comes to alien life forms. Some of my colleagues have compared it to the Helsinki syndrome. That's where a hostage begins to identify with his kidnappers.
And what does this have to do with Babylon 5?
Well, as I said, many who fought the Minbari during the war felt they were up against a vastly superior technological force. And in fact, at that time and under that administration, that was correct. It's not such a great leap from recognizing technological superiority to ascribing greater ethical and moral values and even genetic superiority to alien races. Right here on Earth, for instance. We had the cargo cult, which saw airplanes during the 20th century and assumed they and their pilots were gods. It's much the same thing.
Dr. Induri, in your professional opinion, could this Minbari...
Case in point. Did any of us ever question them putting a picture of themselves up there calling themselves the Son of God? Because he had all the advantages. He had all of the power. He made all the laws. So he must be God, huh? And if he was all that, well then look at it, zoom in on it. Let him see. Okay, there you are. See? And he told us that this was God in the flesh. And because he had all the advantage and everything, that reinforced our inferiority. Everybody knows angels is all white, right? Regardless to how much evil he had done to us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was sent to tell the fathers, these is your children and it ain't the other way around. And you need to stop acting like your children is your fathers. And That's what Elijah was supposed to do. Turn the hearts of the fathers to the children. He changed the way we looked at white people. And he also changed the way they look at us. When the last time you heard a Caucasian come in here trying to talk down to me? It's not because some of them don't want to, but it's because they cannot. And it's not because of any racism that I'm saying that. It's because I know who I am now. And I know who they are. But the main thing is they know that I know. And he's telling you right there on the TV, on the television. I just showing it to you. He know what he did to us. Listen.
War syndrome, or an unhealthy fascination with aliens, cause a person to turn against his own people, his own race.
It is theoretically possible, yes. We all remember the fascination with alien religions that gripped Earth culture after we made our first contact with the Centauri. The assumption was that an advanced species may be nearer God than we are. Which was obviously not the case with the Centauri, goodness knows. But it caused many humans to turn against the belief systems they had been raised with. Even turn violent.
Thank you, Dr. Inderi. The second rule of journalism is no one does anything without a reason. They may not admit it, even to themselves, but the reason is there. To understand what's been happening on Babylon 5 since their break from Earth, you first have to understand why. This puzzle started to come together when our...
That's the one thing that makes him realize that he can always go after anybody that's been taught by him. Because regardless to whatever public agenda they put forth, if he taught them, he knows it's all an act. And they'll say, what's his real agenda? And the only one whose public and private agenda is the same is messengers of God. He knows that. And those who don't have a public and a private agenda, then they don't have they don't really have all of the facts for their public agenda, because he knows that he didn't teach you the whole truth of anything, because he don't have the whole truth of anything. He only has the natural side of the thing. And that's why people use terms like, I got half a mind to do this, or half a mind to do that. That's all you ever had in this world, was half a mind. That's why you kept on building civilizations and they kept imploding on themselves. Just like right now. Look what the civilization has come to. Where they used to think that it was good to work together. After an election, the country used to come together and work together. Now, whoever loses the election starts immediately trying to undermine the other one to make things bad enough so that they can win the next election. So we go from one election to the next. And it may sound to you like I'm identifying with the people who enslaved me. No, I'm not identifying with the people who enslaved me. I'm just identifying to you that I understand the people who enslaved me, and I'm here to introduce all of you to a better way of doing things. Because I don't have half a mind, I got a whole mind. I have what you have, but you don't have what I have. Greatest proof of it is that if you just be honest, if you had a gave me a chance like others are doing, it would have become crystal clear to you now that I'm the Prince of Peace. That would have been made crystal clear to you just by the peace you get from listening to me. I mean, when I'm teaching, I don't just create a bunch of questions in your mind. I create questions and answer them before you can ask the question. I give you questions that you never would have had if it had not been for me. And then I answer those questions. I give you answers to questions that you had in your mind for a long time and couldn't articulate. And thought that couldn't nobody answer. You used to hear people say, can't nobody understand the Bible. You don't hear that no more. Because you know you've ran into somebody who understands all of the scriptures. Thanks to Allah. And I show you that the word of God is one. I don't see them as Bible and Quran. I see them as the word of God. Just like I don't see the alphabet as consonants and vowels. I see them as alphabet. Even though they are composed of consonants and vowels. See how simple I make the truth? Now, is that a boast? Or am I sharing understanding with you to help you to have faith in me and what I'm teaching? How can you trust something that you do not understand? How can you trust someone that you don't understand, that you know nothing about? Then how are you going to know anything about me if I don't introduce myself? Because you certainly don't know me. The scripture said no man knows who the Son is but the Father. Which makes a lie out of all of these people coming in here talking about they know I'm not the Son of Man. How could you know I'm not the Son of Man, since don't nobody know who the Son of Man is but the Father? And when you say you know the truth, the scripture says no man know the Father but the Son. I'm the only one who knows the truth. If you don't understand, you don't know. I don't just have the understanding of what Jesus had to say. I know why he said it. You never heard anyone teach you when them people brought that woman to Jesus talking about Moses' law said stone her. And Jesus stooped down and started scribbling in the dirt. I'm the one told you why he stooped down scribbling in the dirt. They wanted to stone him too. And if he had said spare that woman's life, they would have stoned him. Because they could have accused him of going against Moses' law. So Jesus, he stooped down and started scribbling in the dirt, asking Allah's guidance. Say, oh Allah, these hypocrites. He was thinking to himself, these hypocrites here want to kill me and this woman. And they asked him, man, you hear us talking to you? And then Allah said, tell him this. Don't tell him not to stone him. Just tell him, let him among you who is without sin throw the first stone at him. So Jesus told him that. All the wind got knocked out of them then. They dropped their rocks and walked away. And Jesus looked at the woman and said, where are your accusers, woman? She said, no man, no, none, Lord. He said, well, then neither do I accuse you. Go on and don't do that no more. I'm the one told you why Prophet Muhammad told you that if anybody say there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger, spare his life. When Muhammad had to fight his way back in there and he conquered Mecca, and his followers was ready to kill all of them. And he told them, you know, anyone who say La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger, don't you take his life. He did that because he didn't want to fight his own people in the first place. He was just defending himself. But many with him was bloodthirsty. And to this day, they tell you, ask you, have you taken the oath? They call it the Shahada. Because in their mind, they think that's all it takes to be a Muslim. Because they never understood that the only reason Muhammad said that was because he knew that those people would say that if their life depended on it. And it stopped the killing. You see. You don't hear none of them coming in here contradicting me. Well, you going to teach me Islam? I am Islam. You got nothing to teach me. The Son of Man didn't come to be taught nothing by you. The scripture teaches you that. Mahdi means one who is rightly guided, self-guided, and is capable of guiding others. So, I'm doing what I was born to do. Now watch this man misrepresent everything that he saw there. And that's what the news media does right now. You remember when I was talking with the congressman? Yes. And they took that little snippet out of there where I told them, you said that I didn't. Yes. They left it just like that, right? Yes. We called him Uncle Tom, Clarence Thomas. And they took that one little piece out of there and tried to make a big deal out of it, didn't they?
Cameras happened to overhear what would turn out to be a very important conversation. Listen carefully. Then perhaps we can talk later.
Yeah, I'll try. I'm a bit busy here. Yeah.
Dr. Franklin, the cryo units are ready for restart.
I'll be right there. A small piece of conversation, overheard by chance. We'll find out what those few words really mean when we come back.
ISN special report on Babylon 5 continues with Dan Randall.
Welcome back. In our last segment, I asked you to pay special attention to this ship berthed outside Babylon 5. This warship is part of a fleet created by Sheridan and Minbari Ambassador Delenn and was used in their recent military campaign. You'll note that station resources are being used to outfit and equip the warship. Once again, alien worlds benefit while Earth Alliance taxpayers pay the bills. But that's not the full extent of it. Perhaps coincidentally, perhaps not, Babylon 5 was fully armed with state-of-the-art weapons systems just prior to breaking away from Earth. Weapons used to destroy our own ships during its act of secession. Another piece of an interestingly curious puzzle. But what does it mean? Where is the key, the Rosetta Stone that will unlock the mystery? The mystery that is Babylon 5. Is it hidden or right out in the open? I see the two of you have become very close over the last few years.
Yes, very.
Any truth to the rumors you might eventually marry?
No comment. For now.
Well, as relationships go, you certainly have the odds against you. You were both on different sides during the Minbari War, and I'm sure there are other forces constantly pulling at you.
Of course. But the heart does not recognize boundaries on the map, or wars, or political policies. The heart does. As the heart does.
Then you're not concerned about the possible repercussions.
It will be a struggle.
A struggle against Earth?
Of course. If they don't understand, we will make them understand.
Anything that gets in the way disappears.
There's a lot of people back home who might be concerned about what you're saying. It sounds as if you're putting the mingling of human and Minbari above the safety of your own world.
There's no force in the galaxy that can stop what we have done here together. Nothing will be able to stop us.
Nothing.
They took bits and pieces of the interview that they had with him and slipped them together to make it look like it was saying something that they didn't say. You know, and that's what people do. You know, you saw an example of it with them and with the congressman and myself. You know, we was laughing and talking about Clarence Thomas. And he said, yeah, that Uncle Tom. I said, well, you said that, I did. But we was laughing and talking about that, you know. And that's the way they do. So it's much that you can learn if you just pay attention to their sci-fi. Of course, they know sci-fi don't interest most people. You know, because, you know, most people like drama. You know, it's kind of like President Obama. You know, most of the people that should know the truth, it's just like a black man that gets a position that a white man usually holds. That black man has to be overqualified for that position. And President Obama has proven that he is overly qualified to be president. A lesser man would have been provoked to blow up at you a long time ago. For him to have seen all of the racism and racist behavior exercised against him and never once complained that that's what it was, showed great restraint, great self-control, and great dignity on his part. But others of us who did see it, it was our duty to call it what it is, and what it was, and what it is. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me see here. Just a moment. I always like to let you see that I'm not making up anything.
Good evening from New York. The theory that at least those on the fringes of the political road rage against the 44th president are there because of racism or latent racism or just racial fear may now move to the center of the nation's political discourse. In our fifth story tonight, this after remarks today by former President Jimmy Carter in an interview with Brian Williams for NBC Nightly News. The 39th president who watched his native Georgia grow from lynching and Jim Crow to comparative enlightenment in less than half his own lifetime minced no words about what he sees behind the anger supposedly focused on the issue of health care.
I think an overwhelming portion of the intensely demonstrated animosity toward President Barack Obama is based on the fact that he is a black man, that he's African American. I live in the South, and I've seen the South come a long way, and I've seen the rest of the country that shared the South's attitude toward minority groups at that time, particularly African Americans. That racism inclination still exists, and I think it's bubbled up to the surface because of a belief among many white people, not just in the South but around the country, that African Americans are not qualified to lead this great country. It's an abominable circumstance and grieves me and concerns me very deeply.
I'm joined now by our own Lawrence O'Donnell, contributor to the Huffington Post and, of course, of MSNBC. An overwhelming portion of the intensely demonstrated animosity toward President Barack Obama is based on the fact that he is a black man. Is President Carter correct?
Well, we've had to wonder, especially when we saw...
No, we ain't had to wonder. The only reason he said that is so he could keep his job. How many of y'all wonder? You know, when you on the receiving end of racism, you don't have to wonder if that's what it is. Huh? But, you know, white people that have tried to speak up against it, they had to be very careful. John Brown proved that one. So, but I'm here now. And you will pay a consequence for trying to exercise that on me. And while I'm present. You see, people are justified in trying to do you harm when they think you're trying to do them harm. In their mind, they are justified. But when they discover that you are not trying to do them harm and they still want to do you harm, they deserve damnation. So now, it's late. It's Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're going to, if it pleases Allah, we're going to be in the room at 6 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. So you all adjust your time accordingly. At 6 p.m., because I have a speaking engagement at Southern University, and we're going to broadcast that on the internet too. And it starts at 6 p.m. Central Time. So that's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Time. So that's just for tomorrow. I'm supposed to speak there for Black History Month. And so I'm going to put that in the conference room and also on the internet with the help of our engineers here. And we welcome you to be part of it. So I'm going to close now. May Allah bless us all, keep us safe, and in our right minds. And may Allah bless America and those who believe in justice in America with sanity. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum.